A data fabric is the set of components and services that enable the management, sharing, publication, and archiving of data. Every application that manages distributed data implements some form of a data fabric. A data grid is an example of a data fabric. Data grids provide the capabilities that have been identified by the Research Data Alliance as essential components for data management. Data grids are characterized by the variety of data repositories that can be managed, the variety of systems that can be federated, and the degree of control that can be enforced in a distributed environment. Data fabrics manage three basic properties. Virtualization. The properties of the data collection are managed independently of the choice of technology or administrative domain. Virtualization can be applied to data collections, workflows, and data flows. Examples include file naming, arrangement, access controls, location, and metadata. Interoperability. When multiple independent systems are federated, multiple access protocols may need to be integrated. Data fabrics have to provide the brokering capabilities needed to transform between the different protocols and manage information exchange. Policy-based control. Every data fabric provides some degree of control of the managed entities. Most data fabrics focus on interactions with users and implement access controls, but controlling the properties of a collection, authenticity and integrity, is equally important. The properties represent the assertions that the collection creators are making about the collection. Controlling interactions with technology may also require brokering between client requests and technology protocols. Within the Research Data Alliance, multiple types of data fabrics have been proposed and put into production use. The data fabric types can be loosely categorized as user data fabrics with a focus on discovery and access. User data fabrics are designed to support a data lifecycle with steps for data creation, curation, storage, and reuse. Collaboration data fabrics with a focus on support for research collaborations. The collaboration data fabric supports shared collections, shared workflows, and shared data flows for dynamically changing data. The emphasis is on support for the collaboration for distributed researchers that need uniform namespaces for naming files and workflows used in the research. Repository data fabrics with a focus on technology management. Since the lifetime of a technology choice is on the order of 3 years and a collection may persist for decades, the data fabric must deal with multiple generations of technology. The Research Data Alliance Data Fabric Interest Group has published a description of the data lifecycle and how the RDA working groups contribute to the development of infrastructure needed for a data fabric. The architecture shown here shows the stages used in the data lifecycle, from raw data creation to data registration to data storage to organization and collections to processing and reuse and product collections. The working groups that are involved in developing standards and technology implementations are also shown. The diagram focuses on data and paper publications, their tracking using persistent identifiers, the addition of provenance and descriptive metadata, the use of standard terminology, and the creation of a registry for data types. Since a separate data fabric can be created for each research project, the approach must also support federation of data fabrics. This is a stringent requirement as interoperability between the technologies used to build one data fabric will also need to be provided for federation with technologies used by another data fabric. A recent topic of discussion within the Research Data Alliance is on different versions of federation that can be used with data fabrics. The federation mechanisms are intended to enable interoperability between systems. 3 versions have been implemented using the iRODS data grid. Shared namespaces for users, files, and services. If the 2 data fabrics that are being federated can cross-register usernames, link files to the same collection namespace, and use common service operation names, then collaboration between the 2 data fabrics becomes easy. The services provided by one data fabric can also be applied in the federated data fabric. An example of this is the federation of 2 iRODS data grids. Shared services for manipulating digital objects. If data fabrics implement independent namespaces, they can still provide services that can be accessed by another data fabric. Brokers can be used to ensure access to the service using the correct protocol. Also, services can be encapsulated in machine images and moved to the federated data grid for execution. In this case, the focus is on applying the same procedures to the data across the federation. Third-party services. Two federated data fabrics do not have to interact directly. Interaction requests can be posted to a third party, such as a message queue. Each data fabric can choose whether or not to retrieve posted messages and perform a requested operation. The result is then posted back to the message queue, eliminating direct interaction between the two data fabrics. An example is the use of an external indexing service to audit events. The iRODS data grid implements all three forms of federation. The development of data fabrics is still in an early stage. While there are multiple data fabrics that support data collections, there are fewer examples of data fabrics for workflows and data flows. A data fabric that supports collections would manage virtualization of the collection properties, such as naming, descriptive context using metadata, and access controls. A data fabric that supports workflows would manage naming of workflows, sharing, provenance, and re-execution of workflows. A data fabric that supports data flows would manage naming of data flows, sharing, re-execution, access controls on data flows, and caching of data within the network. A data fabric virtualizes the properties of each type of entity, managing the properties independently of the choice of technology or administrative domain. Take 7 minutes and complete exercise 28. Identify policy differences between types of data fabrics. How do policies for supporting discovery differ from policies to support collaborators? How do policies for controlling technology differ from policies for managing a collection? Please load a paragraph describing your conclusions into the Lifetime Library in Sub-Collection Class INLS 624 by the end of today's class. The IPlant Collaborative is an NSF-funded project that is in production use to support the plant sciences. The program was started in 2008. It is a very successful project that is able to address the requirements of small research teams while managing interactions with massive collections and high-performance computing centers. The IPlant Collaborative infrastructure is led by the University of Arizona, which has developed tools to support Grand Challenge projects. These tools include the iPlant Tree of Life, Genotype to Phenotype for plants, and seed projects. The projects represent attempts to better understand the genome of plants, how the properties of plants are dependent upon their genotype, and how to develop new types of plants. An example grand challenge is the identification of plants that will be drought resistant. This is becoming increasingly important as the climate changes. The URL for iPlant is iplantcollaborative.org. The collaborative members include the University of Arizona, Texas Advanced Computing Center, Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, and the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. The communities using the iPlant infrastructure are self-organized into small teams of researchers. A team may have 5 participants that share data, do collaborative research, and jointly publish their results. Each team keeps their results proprietary until they are ready to publish. This means that access controls have to be maintained on all data sets. When the data are formally published, external access mechanisms are needed for researchers who do not have an account in the iPlant data grid. iPlant uses tickets to provide controlled access and supports generation of URLs for public links. A major analysis platform called the Discovery Environment was developed by the iPlant Collaborative. This system enables the registration of applications, the creation and management of workflows, and the execution of workflows at high-performance computing centers such as the Texas Advanced Computing Center. The Discovery Environment encapsulates applications and machine images, such as Docker, to transport analyses and input data files to a remote site for execution. The system automatically retrieves the results and registers them back into the data grid. The discovery environment interacts with the data store service to manage input and output files. The data store uses iRODS for the low-level data management. The iRODS data grid manages the interaction with hardware resources. Participation in the iPlant Collaborative is rapidly expanding. In October 2015, there were 27,000 accounts. The number of users who were storing data was 4,900, of which more than half were sharing data. There were about 2,100 data objects shared per user. The data store held 42 million files, of which 58% were shared. In addition to project collections, the IPlant Collaborative also supported community resources, data sets that were made publicly accessible. These data sets comprised 5 million files and over a petabyte of data. Increasingly, researchers are requiring support for not only data collections, but also for analysis software. To support reproducible research, a researcher must be able to share both the data sets and the analyses that were used in the research. The discovery environment is designed to support both computation and data. It provides an interface to register and manage a user account, ability to upload, download, share, and edit data files, ability to submit input files to use existing applications, ability to create and register a new application, creation and editing of workflows or processing pipelines, management of notifications when an analysis completes, and customization of the interface. This list represents a minimal set of capabilities needed by a research team and should be a standard component of research digital libraries. The DataNet Federation Consortium is creating a standard installation package for the discovery environment to enable use with any iRODS data grid. A relevant question is whether the discovery environment should become part of the SILS Lifetime Library and the Carolina Digital Repository.